I arrived in London about 6 o'clock in the morning, and after a freshen up at the really expensive but fabulous hotel, Yotel, I then ended up going to my hotel in Bayswater, at which point I collapsed on the bed, and then once I woke up, went for a little walk and found the London Eye. I have to say the architecture in London is magnificent. The trains, however, well, that made me want to throw myself in front of one of them. It was 35 degrees. I had 2 full bags and a backpack, and I was on the underground. I got to see Big Ben from a distance, but didn't get to visit it in the end. Next time. Apparently this is a hotel. I thought it was something a little bit more special, but no, just a hotel. Admittedly, I probably couldn't afford to stay there, but that's another story. It was a mega hot day. It must have been 34, 35, 36 degrees. But it was awesome because I was in London. Better yet, I had a guy blowing massive bubbles around me. And what does a girl love more than having someone blowing bubbles around her? Waterloo Station looks so grand from the outside. You get inside and it is mayhem. I don't know how people know where they're going. I was so excited to take photos of this guy. I'd never seen a squirrel before in my life, and he was just walking around going, "Look at me, I'm a squirrel. I'm squirreling around." Ducks near the Thames. How dirty can it be? There's bird life there. This is a famous Globe Theatre. It does look like in the pictures on the outside. However, if you go around the back, it's a fairly modern building. This is Alban in Scotland. It's the gateway to the Outer Hebrides. You have to understand where I come from. I've never seen hills like this. We have hills, we have mountains, but nothing quite like this. They even have Roman architecture. Over my trip, I became obsessed with the Caledonian McBrain ferries. They take you everywhere in the Outer Hebrides, and I spent more time on them than I did on some islands. This is the best view of Alban when we were leaving. It was the best view because it's pretty, but also because we were leaving. Alban in itself didn't do much for me. What I love about this part of the world is that there are places that are so old that they're ruins. I mean, you know, for us a ruin is 100 years old, 200 years old. But in the UK, it's different. It's so much older. The world looks like it's painted on when you're travelling through the Outer Hebrides. The colours change every minute. The scenery changes and yet it stays the same all the way through your journeys. Look, I don't need $70 million. I'd just be happy to be that guy in that boat. Just as rich as he is. No more. Okay, it's a picture of a bunny bum, but it was exciting because it was the first time I saw a wild animal. I don't really consider the ones in London wild. There's too many people around. This was my first moments on Barra. And sheep. I love sheep. I think I spent more money on petrol stopping to take photos than I did actually driving around. The awesome thing about Barra is that there's no fences. Why would you need fences? It's an island. Where are the sheep going to go? These sheep were awesome. They walked down the road like they owned the place. A farmer tried to do a poodle cut on this poor sheep. Didn't quite work. Someone was ready for a bonfire. Too bad I wasn't invited. More ruins. Awesome, awesome ruins. This is Scotland. Scotland is a beautiful, beautiful place with a large variety of flowers. You might call them weeds, I call them beautiful flowers. This is what I saw everywhere in the Outer Hebrides. Passing places are awesome things. Most of the roads are one lane, so if you're going straight ahead and somebody comes up towards you, what you do is you look for a passing place. That might mean someone has to reverse, someone has to go forward slowly. Everyone is so incredibly polite about it, and I couldn't see that there would be accidents on the island. That's also a horse there, but I didn't need to pass him. Look, Farah got to the Outer Hebrides. Barra's fairly famous for its aeroplane that lands on the water. However, if you don't know where you're looking, you're not meant to look towards the water, you're meant to look behind as it comes over land. I learnt that the hard way. This is just me being artsy-fartsy. More artsy. I could have stayed here forever. I think this picture typifies Barra. It's a desolate place. It's a lonely place if you allow it to be, but it's also a beautiful and strong place. I could live there forever. More of the artsy. This is one thing I found that the UK has a lot of. Cemeteries. Now it makes sense. People have been dying there for a long time. Much longer than they have been in Australia, but I'm not used to seeing cemeteries everywhere. We have very few cemeteries, so this was quite an eye-opener. And they're beautiful places in their own right. This is a message to my future husband. This is the house I want you to build us. That's all. This I'm happy with. A boat and crabbing pots on Uist. Did I mention I love sheep? Another thatch, not quite as nice as the previous one. This is the wildlife reserve on Uist, where those thatched houses were. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Lots of birds. I couldn't tell you what one was, but, you know, lots of really pretty birds. More of the artsy, less of the fartsy. This is a pristine beach in the Outer Hebrides. I mean, look at it. It's as beautiful as anywhere on Earth. This tropical paradise can be found on Uist in Scotland, in the Outer Hebrides. Who knew? This is Skye. This is the first thing you see when you get off the ferry. It's a magnificent sight. This is the road that takes you around Skye. How could you find anywhere more enticing than this? And more sheep, of course. Once in the mainland of Scotland, I decided to take a bit of a tour. Just turn the car where it felt like turning. When you do that, you find places like this. And animals like this. And places like this. And this. And even this. All of these pictures were taken at Lochmora or on the way, and it is such a magnificent place. You never know what you'll see or who you'll meet.